Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another CAP session. I hope everyone had a wonderful week and a wonderful day, and then you're ready for a wonderful weekend. I am super excited because we have a really great CAP session planned for you this evening. All of our CAP sessions are great, of course, but today is about money. We're going to help you with saving money to get yourself, not saving money, but getting scholarships and financial aid to get you ready for college. We have an awesome speaker, Dr. Scholarship, who's going to give you some really good tips and tricks. So get your notepad out, get your pens and paper out, and get ready to take some really good notes. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about HBCUs. I'm sure most of you already know what an HBCU is, but just in case, that stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. What we're going to tell you about this afternoon, or this evening, is we're going to let you speak with some students who are fairly recent graduates from HBCUs and let you know why they chose to attend those schools. The reason why that is important is because most HBCUs are located in back east or down south. There's only one in California. So the majority of them are back east or down south. And unfortunately, a lot of people in California just don't know that much about HBCUs. So we want to expose you to them, give you the opportunity to learn about them, ask questions, hear from people that graduated from those schools, and just, absorb as much information as you can. And feel free to ask questions. Even if you're not African American, all people are welcome to attend HBCUs. There's a reason why they're called historically Black colleges. They're no longer exclusive to African Americans. It's just that when those colleges were founded, those were the only schools that we were allowed to go to. But today, every nationality can attend an HBCU, and they offer a plethora of opportunities that are a little bit of a lower cost than a lot of the traditional white institutions. So that being said, one more thing. Our next CAP session is going to be a career panel. So what I'd like for the students to do that are on this call, in the chat, please let us know, what careers are you interested in? What are you thinking about studying when you go to college? Again, students who are on the chat, I need to know what colleges or what careers you're interested in going into when you go to college. And the reason why is because we're going to try our best to find people that work in those careers or in that industry, so that when we have our career panel, you'll get to hear from someone who's performing in that job. Okay, let me check the chat and see who's going to be the first one to put something in there. Where are my students? Where are my students? Let me see. Put something in there for me so I can know you're there. Now, if you don't put anything in the chat, I can't help you. There we are. Cybersecurity, analyst, specialist. Okay, very good. Thank you, Heather. Anyone else who wants to speak to or hear from some professionals in those different careers or industries that you're interested in? Now's your time to let us know. Even if you're not sure, if you're just thinking about it, let us know. Okay, so I guess all I just need to bring is a cybersecurity specialist, huh? Okay, all right. Well, I'll give you guys have plenty of time. I won't push too hard right now, but hopefully we'll get more responses by the end of the call. Okay, that being said, I'm going to hand the call over to Miss Karen Hamilton. She is an alumni graduate of Spelman College, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. Karen Hamilton, take it away.
Thanks, Stacy. Stacy is my Spelman sister. We actually graduated from Spelman College the same year. So good evening, everyone. So happy to see everyone this evening. I'm super excited about the panelists that you're going to hear this evening. They are all HBCU graduates. And so I see my panelists. So panelists, the way I'd like for us this discussion to go, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves. I'll start with the ladies first. Kirk, if that's okay. And then in your introduction, if you can share which HBCU you attended or graduated from. And then if you can share with us why you chose the HBCU that you attended. So why don't I start with Miss Destiny?
Hello, everyone. My name is Destiny Ross. I graduated from Dillard University, which is located in New Orleans, Louisiana. I graduated just about 2 years ago in 2019. And I chose an HBCU because In high school, I went to a predominantly white high school. I went to University High School, which is located in Westwood. And I was over the Black Student Union. I was president of Black Student Union while I was at University High School. And Black students made up less than 2% of the population of University High School, which is it's a pretty large high school. So while I was in high school, I was really just finding myself and really embracing myself as a Black woman. And that was when I came across HBCUs. And I ended up at Dillard because my family has roots in New Orleans. And it all kind of just worked out perfectly for me to attend.
Thank you, Destiny. Sonia, do you want to go next?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Sonia Williams, and I attended Florida A&M University, which is in Tallahassee, Florida, which is actually the state's capital. And I graduated in 1998. And I decided to go to an HBCU, which is something that I decided from a very young age. It was just a matter of which university I would attend. I went on a Black college tour my sophomore year and had an opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. and Norfolk, Virginia, and Atlanta, went to Morris Brown, traveled through Fisk, all different universities. And there was just excellence everywhere. North Carolina, any one of them would have been an amazing opportunity. Ultimately, I chose Florida A&M because of their journalism program. So upon deeper research, I found out that that was a school that had a program that was aligned with my career goals. And it's a decision that I never regretted.
Awesome. Thank you. And Kirk.
Hey, how is everyone doing? Kirkpatrick Tyler. I am a 2003 graduate of Morris Brown College. I grew up in the AME Church, and Morris Brown College was founded by the AME Church actually at an invitation to open up a classroom at Clark Atlanta University. And I, like Sonia, went on a college tour. I think maybe it was the same one, but we got to go to Norfolk. I went to all these different colleges, and I remember being on the campus of Morris Brown and standing and looking over the stadium and knowing that that was where I was supposed to be. I had an uncle who was an alumni from there. And I wanted to be in Atlanta, and I wanted to be at an AME school. And one of the best experiences I ever had. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Awesome. Awesome. So I have two more questions, and then if time permits, I want to open it up to our students, and if there's any parents on the call to ask you all questions as well. So my next question is, how did attending an HBCU help to prepare or impact you for your current career choice? Any additional education that you went after, like, grad school, medical school, law school, and then just, life in general. So, Kirk, do you want to start?
Yes. Could you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. How did attending an HBCU help to prepare or impact you for your current career choice? Any additional education you may have pursued, or just life in general?
Yeah, give me the easiest question. That's fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I think attending an HBCU prepares you for everything, right? Because there's this community of support. So I'll be honest. One of the reasons is because attending an HBCU, the registration process is a long and arduous process that is going to test your patience, your resolve, your discipline, and that, like, we just got to be real with our young people, right? Like, my graduate degree is from a predominantly white institution, and I was able to go online, and in 10 minutes, my registration was over. But when I got to Morris Brown, my registration process was a 2.5 day long process, which would have been 3 if I hadn't met somebody who hooked me up and moved me to the front of the line and took some of my paperwork to the person that I needed to deal with it. and it was in a gymnasium, and it was hot because the air conditioner was broken that day. And I know you're like, why are y'all telling these kids this? Because it was an experience, and what you'll learn and hear probably from any alumni, even a person that's attended an HBCU, is that those experiences built character. Because even in that experience, that's actually where I met one of my first best friends from college. That's where I made some of my first connections in college. It gave me patience. So my master's degree is in public administration from Brooks School of Public Affairs, City University of New York. But when I got there, a lot of things that were disheveling people, kind of the cultural things and the studying and maybe some things that weren't easily accessible, that were frustrating other people, were a breeze to me because I didn't have this expectation that everything was just going to be easy. But also, what I found were that I had time in a culture that affirmed me. I had professors that affirmed me. I had classmates that affirmed me. I was in an environment that spoke to me as an African man versus another student or a Black person in a white institution. And so when I walked out of Morris Brown with a degree, when I walked out of Morris Brown with my degree, I was very sure of who I was. And so when I walked into white institutions, when I walked into white organization or white-led organizations, I was able to do so with the confidence that I was able to affirm myself when that space wasn't necessarily what
Audience, you can mute your phone. If you are, you can mute your phone, please.
Huh? It hadn't been flushed. It was flushed, but it wasn't clean. You know how you flush the toilet?
One moment, please. I don't know, Stacy, can you mute? Do you have?
I can
You can
mute
go
all.
ahead and resume. I've muted.
Okay,
Awesome,
thanks,
thank
Marissa.
you. Kirk, is there anything else you wanted to add? I'm so sorry.
No worries. No, I think that was all I wanted to say.
Okay, so Destiny, same question. How did attending an HBCU help to prepare or impact you for your current career choice, any additional education you may have pursued, or life in general?
So I can definitely touch on my most recent career endeavor. So currently right now I work for a Black-owned company. So obviously working for a Black-owned company and attending a predominantly Black university would go hand in hand. One of the reasons why I attended Dillard was because I wanted to be around people that look like me and that were, successful. Because like I said, going to a school where Black people made up less than 2% of the population, I didn't really even have a Black teacher until I got to Dillard, So now being able to work for a company that's Black owned and operated, it shows me that, even at my boss is only 36 and he has multiple streams of income. He has a business, he owns property. And it shows me that my horizon and my future is so big. And if I wouldn't have gone to a HBCU, I don't think I would have had that mindset. I think that if I went to a predominantly white school, I would have got, applied for, a regular, office kind of job with a regular, company, instead of exploring my options and finding people that look like me and working for people that look like me. Because even the relationship that I have with my boss is different. It's one where I can be myself, and I know that I can be myself because he understands where I've been, what I've been through, and things that shaped me as a Black woman. And if I wouldn't have attended an HBCU, I wouldn't have had the outlook. I wouldn't have known Black business owners. I wouldn't have been exposed to that kind of thing. And that's something that I'm so grateful for. And yeah, I think that's one thing I can say.
Awesome. And Sonia, same question.
Definitely, I would like to sort of piggyback on what Patrick said about being prepared for graduate work. I hold a graduate degree from UCLA, and upon entrance, I was completely prepared for the rigor of the program. And even looking at some of my classmates that may have attended non-HBCUs and coming in and they may not have had as much of a comprehensive experience as I did. Just the academic coursework at FAMU it was very challenging. Coming from high school in California, initially when I got there, I thought, wow, this is really going to be tough. And to be quite honest, my counselors in high school were actually discouraging me from attending an HBCU. I graduated number 10 at my high school, and they're saying, well, you have offers to go to these predominantly white schools right here in California. Why would you not take that opportunity? And I was adamant. I mean, they were calling me in just repeatedly, you're making a mistake. You should go to this UC. You should go. No, I'm going to Florida A&M University. I've made my mind up. And it was a decision that I could never, ever regret because it challenged me. I mean, the coursework, I mean, it just like Destiny was saying, taking race off the table. That was no longer even a factor. It's like, we're here to just have pure joy and just the genius and the excellence that you're around and the networking opportunities. I have friends now in Chicago, DC, I can go anywhere. And my friends that went to school here can't necessarily say that. They know who they know from California, but I can go to Atlanta, I can go to Miami. It doesn't matter. I have a friend everywhere. And it's just, I mean, honestly, it's an experience that you can't even explain it. You really have to just be there to know, what the experience is all about. But I definitely recommend it.
Okay, my last question, and then I want to open it up for panels. This is such a rich discussion. I mean, open it up for answers from our audience. So my last question, any advice for students that are on here today or any parents that are listening, any advice as they look into attending an HBCU? And I find it interesting that the panelists are all from California and went, across the country almost to attend an HBCU, such as myself, and I see some others on the call as well. If you could talk about that too, because I think a lot of students, may not feel comfortable or feel safe, leaving, home. And then, like I said, going across to the other side of the country. And then just for parents, Stacy and I often laugh, our parents just dropped us off and was like, bye. So, I remember that distinctly. But, parents who are, maybe a little hesitant to send their student to an HBCU. Destiny, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can definitely go first. So just like the other two panelists, I also went on an HBCU college tour. I went the summer of my junior year, and I think we probably all went on the same tour.
I don't think so. Well, maybe the same company, but definitely not the same
company.
time.
Yeah. Because I went to the same school. We
like 20 years later, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we flew from LA to Atlanta, and we drove all the way from Atlanta up to DC, and we visited a good amount of HBCUs there. And that was actually the first time I had ever been on a plane. Like, that was the first time I had ever been away from my parents. My grandmother was like, hey, this is an opportunity I think would be great for me to expose me to HBCUs, which is something that I was very interested in at the time. So for me, being a girl, I grew up in South Central LA. I lived in Leimert Park. I had only been there my entire life until I went on this college tour. That was the first time I was away from my mom for 7 days. And that 7 days changed my life. I ended up going to Dillard, which is not one of the schools that I attended and visited on tour, but I felt comfortable enough seeing enough HBCUs in person that I felt comfortable going to Dillard blindly. Also, like I said, I did have family who lived in New Orleans who was familiar with the area. But for people who are afraid and people who don't want to let their kids go, you're always going to be here. And that was what my mother told me. She's like, look, I'm not going anywhere, right? They're always going to be in LA. And I think for me, I'm an only child. So going to an HBCU, it definitely shaped me as a woman. And it gave me confidence in myself that I don't think that I would have been able to learn if I went to CSUN or UCLA or whatever school that's local here. I think I would have been, fell back a little bit more on the comfort of having my mother and my grandmother here with me. But being so far and being in New Orleans, I had to figure it out on my own. I got to Dillard in 2015 and I said, look, I looked at what it cost. I knew I was paying for it myself. And I said, okay, we're going to get in and out in 4 years. And I did. And it took me to mature and have those experiences bumping my head, because we all do it, right? I was able to grow up and really rely on myself as a woman. And I know that if I would have stayed here, then I wouldn't have done it. My mom, she called me every day when I was in school for 4 years. She called me every single day. So for those parents who are scared and nervous, you know what I'm saying? Trust me, your kids are going to be there. If you can't reach them, you can reach some of the faculty, because an HBCU was like a family. You know, the admissions counselors and the deans of students, we all knew each other on a first name basis at Dillard, because they wanted you to feel like if you needed something that you could go to them. So for me, I think it was the best thing I could have done for myself.
Awesome. Thank you, Destiny. Sonia, do you want to go next?
It's definitely a community feel when you go to an HBCU. Most of them have some type of California club anyway. So when you get there, there's really already like a built-in support system. So there's really not this sense of just being like, you know, a loner 2,000 miles away. You'll find your people, and you'll just, you know, even if nothing else fails, you'll be able to rely on that community. So I never felt unsafe. I always felt just, you know, just pure joy, to be honest. There was never, since I would come home for the summer, that was fine. All my friends that went to other schools, we would come back for the summer and have a good time. And even some of my other friends went to Dillard. My two best friends actually went to Dillard. So we would drive to New Orleans, and they would come to FAMU, and we would go up to Atlanta because our other friends went to Morehouse and Clark. And so you end up doing all of that and just having a good time. So it's not some sense, there's so many California people back east now anyway. So wherever you go, you'll find them. Don't worry.
Thank you for that. And Kurt.
Yeah, so I think first I probably speak to the primary concern, which is about safety, right? And safety is not about distance, it's about community and making wise decisions. The same things that can happen to you at an HBCU, or that we fear may happen at an HBCU in the South or in the East, can happen at USC. Right. In particular, when we talk about our young people, that possibility is probably increased. When we send our young people to our institutions, find out about the alumni, find out about the institutions that are connected to it, the church organizations, because in there you'll find a support system, you'll find families who will serve as surrogate families for your children, which you're not going to find at a white institution, right? When we send our kids to Harvard, when we send our kid, we don't think about, oh, are their family? We trust that because it's a white institution that everything's going to be okay. And then we leave our children kind of unprotected at these institutions because they have a white pushed name. And that's why, right? We trust it because white folks have told us that their institutions are safe. Until if you talk to people who have graduated from white institutions, they'll tell you the amount of trauma that they suffered and the type of impact that experience had on their lives and how much time they spent trying to find themselves. So safety is not about distance. That's the first thing that I would say, is that safety is about building community around your young person. And you should do that no matter where you send it. But it is much easier to find a community when we send our young people to an HBCU. The second reason I would say it is important for us to send our children to our young people to HBCUs is because it gives us the opportunity to see the diversity of African people throughout the world. One of the first responses when I've talked to young people about going to HBCUs is that they've been around Black people already. And you have no idea how much you have not been around Black people already until you've gone to an HBCU, because you'll learn that there are Black people from every part of the earth. There are Black folks in cities you've never even heard of. And to be exposed to them and to their experience is life-giving and empowering, and it will expand your horizons. And I think we as African people have to expose ourselves to different African people from different walks of life so that we can grow as African people and not continue to kind of grow in this in this kind of like white monolithic perspective of ourselves. And you're only going to get that by sending your young person to an HBCU. In addition to that, how long are we going to let white folks teach our children? Right? Like, we keep hearing news reports of babies getting their hair cut. We keep hearing, you know, people be shamed. We keep hearing like all of these things, and we keep sending we're fighting right now for I forget what the new term is, but cultural awareness and critical race theory. Like, we're really fighting people to teach us about ourselves when we have our own institutions that could teach us about ourselves probably more effectively. So I think it's ridiculous for us. Again, I went to Morris Brown, which was founded by African people for African people. We were not, and this is not a knock to any of my other sisters and brothers who went to other institutions. We were founded by us. And I think that is the best way for us to be teaching our own people. We should have more schools before you get to college. But we have to invest in our own institutions. The reason that Harvard is because white folks invested in Harvard, and not just invested in the institution as a college, but they created pathways for careers for students once they got out of there. They created pathways to higher education for masters and doctorates for students, and it made it advantageous for them. So they built an institution around the institution of white educational systems. And if we are willing to do that for our schools, we will see the same type of success and network for our young people. I think it is lazy to send our children to white institutions, predominantly white institutions, because we have everything that we need within our own communities. And the longer that we look away from that and ignore it and refuse to collectively invest in it, the more we're going to keep having our children be traumatized by sending them to white institutions. And it's fun, right? You got homecoming. So after all of that serious stuff, you will not experience a better homecoming than an HBCU homecoming.
Did we mention the band? We didn't mention the band.
Yeah, the football team might suck, but the band in the fifth quarter, which is something you'll learn about if you go to an HBCU, is always going to be exciting. Seeing a probate show, I don't think we can call it that no more, but seeing a probate show on the yard is amazing. Going to homecoming. Oh, good. Okay. Going to a homecoming on the yard is amazing. And those are experiences that you won't get anywhere else. Yep, white folks got homecomings. Yep, white folks got bands, but they don't have anything like the Marching 100. They don't have anything like the Marching Wolverine Band. They don't have anything like TSU or the Aristocrats or, you know, Tuskegee. You are not going to get the Black college experience. And then 12 years after you graduated from your white institution, you are going to be hanging around your friends who went to an HBCU, and you are going to feel like you missed a part of your life. You've been going to white schools probably your whole life. You can go to a white graduate school. I did it. It was fine. I actually fared better at their graduate schools because I had an African institution teach me. But this is one of the most important portions of your life. You spent the first 18, 17 years living for your parents. Once you hit 30, you'll spend it living either for your employer or your children or somebody else. This is the time when you will live for yourself. This is the time where you will have the opportunity to be exposed to so much. Take this time to do it among African people. You will not regret it.
Whew, Kurt.
That was great.
Yeah, Rich.
That was great.
Rich.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all the panelists. I'm full because I mean, you guys were sharing so much, and I thought of, homecoming. Homecoming was last week for us, but it was virtual. But there's nothing. It's like a big family reunion. It's like you never left. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know we have an amazing speaker coming up next. But Stacy, do we have time for one or two questions from any of our students? If you're talking, Stacy.
Yeah, I was about to say, me and this mute button, I tell you, yes, please, any students out there that are considering an HBCU, who have questions about HBCUs, parents, please, this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. Don't be shy, or you can put it in the chat. Don't be shy. We're nice people. Well, while we're waiting, I'm also going to remind the students that I have asked all the students who are on here to please let us know what careers they're interested in going into. What are you looking at studying when you go to college? What do you want to be when you grow up? I'm asking this because we're putting together a career panel for the next CAP session in December. And I would really like to bring in some professionals that represent the careers that you're interested in. I'm going to try to have a plethora of professionals, but it would really help if I could narrow it down to those careers that you are interested in. And so far, I think I've only seen one. Oh, I see 2 responses, environmental science. Okay, thank you. All right, did I miss any others? No. Okay.
Dermatology.
What was the last one?
Lauren Brooks, 11th grade.
And what was the field that you mentioned?
Dermatology.
Dermatology. Okay. I remember you mentioned that before, Lauren. Thank you. Okay. Glad you said that. Okay. Before we move on, are there any other comments or questions about HBCUs? I know we have quite a few HBCU grads on the call right now, and I'm sure all of you guys are having flashbacks like I was having just a few minutes ago, reminiscing and thinking back to my years at Spelman College. But is there anyone else who would like to provide any input, or are there any questions? Input for these students who anything you would like to share with the students about attending an HBCU?
I just want to say, I think that everyone should get involved. That's one of the things that I was most thankful for doing while I was at Dillard, was as soon as I got to Dillard, I got involved. I was on freshman class council. I stayed involved the following year on student activities board. That later semester, I ended up crossing AKA, and I was involved the entire time I was at Dillard. And that allowed me to stay on track to graduate, because you can go to an HBCU, but it's different to attend an HBCU. And to attend a school is to truly be involved. Our dean used to say that all the time. There are people that go to Dillard and there's people that attend Dillard. And you definitely want to maximize all of the programming activities that they have at HBCUs, because they have so many different types of things. As Miss Sonia mentioned, they have, Cali Club, and they have all these other types of things where you can get involved and meet people. But that's one thing that I definitely want to put out there is, just because you go to an HBCU, you will not get that experience unless you're involved. You have to be involved. You're going to learn about so many different things. When I got to Dillard, you learn about Miss Dillard and Miss Senior, and you realize what that does and how that involves community service and being involved in, the fashion club and this, that, and the other, and how they put on fashion shows that are like the place to be during homecoming. And you don't want to miss out on those opportunities, because I have friends that they just went to an HBCU and they didn't do anything. And they look at me and they're like, oh my gosh, she was involved in so much stuff. And it's like, yeah, I look back on my experience at Dillard and I'm like, I really did everything that I could do. And I got in and out in 4 years. And for me, I attribute that to being involved, because if I wasn't involved, I wouldn't have been friends with those counselors. I wouldn't have got those extra scholarships. I wouldn't have did this, and that. So I just want to put it out there that there's a difference between going to a school and attending a school. And I want everyone to attend an HBCU. I want you guys to get involved because it will make a difference.
Sister Karen, can I ask a question of the panel? This is Sister Lene.
Sure.
Can I ask you all to speak to some of the lessons learned so they can avoid maybe some of the pitfalls you encountered when you started going to an HBCU? For myself, coming from California as well, traveling across the country without any parental supervision, I kind of lost my mind. So can you guys kind of talk to some of the lessons learned so they won't repeat them?
Who wants to go first?
I graduated college pretty recently. I graduated 2 years ago. So I can say a majority of the people that I met on campus, I met them before. And that was through like social media, through Twitter and stuff like that. And people are different on the internet than they are in person. So I would just say, knowing that these students have probably a more engaged experience with social media than I did even 2 years ago at Dillard, I would just say, be cautious of who you share your information with before you get to school. Just because not everyone is your friend. Sometimes you need to meet people in person. And I know, like I said, I know that the internet it's so easy to engage and get to know people. But that's one thing I would say, just, be cautious of who you talk to before. Of course, you want to get to know people, but there's an experience, and it's a different kind of feeling when you get to know people blind in person, when they're getting put in your, tour group to tour the dorms and all that kind of stuff. But I know for me, a lot of the people that we had like a big DU19 group message, and it was like we thought we were all best friends, and then we got to campus, and then it was like, ooh, I don't really think she's my best friend. So that's just one thing that I would say, just because it's so easy to talk to people on the internet nowadays.
Sonia Kerr.
Well, I'm from the pre-Twitter, Facebook, Instagram generation, but and I think this is probably true of attending any school. Just try not to go to many different places alone. Try to really have the buddy system if you're walking across campus. I think this is just universally true. Have your people that you trust, people that you know you can count on. Just, having that support system. Because sometimes I think in life, people will prey on those that they see that are just kind of alone all the time. And again, and I don't think that's unique to an HBCU. I think that could be true anywhere. So, just be cautious and just, be aware of your surroundings and really try to seek out people who seem like they're there, like Destiny said, for the 4-year mission. If you start getting the impression that folks are sort of trying to drag this out for the 6, 7, 8-year plan, you may need to rethink who you're hanging around and really try to, be around people that are there with a purpose and just trying to take care of business.
Kirk, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, don't sign up for 8 a.m. classes. 8 a.m. in college is different than 8 a.m. in high school. If at all possible, get a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday class schedule. Because then you'll have Fridays and Mondays off and you can take trips and things like that. Because I gave you all the serious stuff before. We got to have some fun, right, in college.
Those are some gems right there. Those are
right,
some
right. And know that like this is not your entire life, right? I think we push young people to take college so seriously, and it is, right? Like it's an important thing. Your parents are going to spend a lot of money for you to go there and be there, but enjoy it, because the more that you enjoy it, the more you will experience it, right? And you'll gain more from it. And then I think the third thing I would say is don't get a job before junior year. Like allow yourself to truly, fully be immersed in the college experience.
And to your point, as far as being immersed in the experience, try not to go home too often. Yeah. I feel like people that were constantly running back home, back home, they just never did really click with what was going on. Yeah. So, and again, that's not just unique to HBCUs. Like if you end up going to the Bay Area, don't come home every weekend. Your parents may want you to, but
that's true. Even as I think you mentioned, Miss Sonia, the idea of like building community and things like that at Dillard. And I know that not all schools do this, but there'll be something similar, or there'll be something unique to that university. But it was too costly to go home for Thanksgiving. I never went home for Thanksgiving. It was you got that Thursday and Friday off. It wasn't cost efficient for me to take a $500 flight to go back home. But at Dillard, our president used to host for a good amount of students. He would invite everybody to his house, and he would cater. And those people who couldn't afford to go home or didn't have a friend's family to go over to for the holidays, our university president invited us into his home, and he would, like I said, provide Thanksgiving for us. So there are so many things that you do miss out on if you are always going home. And for me, the closer I got to senior year, the less I went home. I went home, I think my freshman summer and sophomore summer. And then after that, I was an AKA, and we were traveling to Atlanta, going to AGP, we were doing all that kind of stuff. And those are the memories that I'm so grateful for. So I would definitely agree. Don't be afraid to stay on campus, because trust me, you will not be the only one.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot. You're thinking about books, and you're already paying to be there and all the other kind of stuff. Trust me, you'll be able to find a good amount of people who they'll be staying home, and you guys can stay together and create your own traditions and Friendsgiving and all that kind of stuff.
And the dorm during holidays is some of the most fun times.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, what I'll say the last two things concerning dating. I don't care how much in love you are. Long distance relationship your freshman year isn't going to happen. It's not going to work.
And don't get in a relationship your freshman year.
Yeah, don't do relationships at all. But like it because no matter what, you're growing and evolving. You're going to become a different person after your freshman year. And the pressure of that and trying to maintain that with a person, like, I know you're in love, oh my gosh, but just spare yourself that now. And then the other thing I would say is that no upperclassman is so enamored by your beauty or your handsomeness and your brains that they're just in love with you despite you are a freshman. Whether male or female, when you come in and you are a freshman, the upperclassmen that are attracted to you are attracted to you sexually. Like that's a whole thing. And that's not just reserved for young women. Young brothers, there are going to be upper class women who are attracted to you. Don't fall for the hype. Yep, stay focused on the books.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I agree with Mr. Kurt. Don't get in a relationship. I did in my freshman year, and it just creates a lot of unnecessary things. And like I said, if you get involved in other things, like I was also involved in class council, but if you stay in those, you'll be able to create good friendships and connections that way. Because trust me, lovers will always be there, but that college experience is for a short time, and you don't want to miss out on the opportunities and things that you could get, because you could date for the rest of your life, but you're only going to be 18 to 22 once, so don't miss out.
Wow. I mean, honestly, guys, we could go on and on talking about HBCUs because there's so much more to cover. And I have some stories that I look back now and I'm like, wow, I should make a book out of this. But this is your opportunity. If you have any questions, if you want to know anything else about HBCUs, this is a great time to ask. Feel free to come off mute or drop it in the chat. I don't know, guys, maybe we should consider doing this next year, a whole panel on why choose an HBCU, just do a whole workshop just on that, because there's so much more we could say. But I want to make sure that we get to our next topic as well. First, let me say thank you so much to our panelists. You guys did an amazing job. I enjoyed hearing from you. I appreciate the time and your words of encouragement and words of advice. This was all very valuable information. And some of it I wish somebody had shared with me before I went to school. And again, it doesn't all just apply to HBCUs. A lot of the things you guys heard today apply to any school or just life lessons in general. Okay. All right. So that being said, I also want to take a moment to welcome and say thank you to our chapter president, Michelle Banks-Ordone, has joined the call. Michelle, did you have anything that you'd like to say to the students on the call today?
I just want to thank all of the scholars who are here, who are attending and hearing all this amazing advice. Please soak it in. The panel is being incredibly honest and preparing you not only for some of those things and questions you're going to have about administrative and academic issues, but they're giving some life lessons tonight. And so please take all of that in and take this opportunity to ask those questions. Don't be afraid. You heard Miss Stacy say it earlier. We're not going to bite. We're very friendly. We're here for you. So utilize us as a resource. Just as when you go to school, utilize all those resources available to you. So this time is for you. Thank you so much, Sister Stacy, for giving me this opportunity. And let's go ahead and move on.
All right, guys. Thank you again. So I'm going to take a minute now to introduce our next speaker. I hope you have pen and paper or pencil and paper or however you like to type your notes or whatever, because you're about to receive some very valuable information. Our speaker is Rhea Watson, also known as the Scholarship Doctor. She's a lifetime learner and an educator. Let me tell you something. As a freshman entering college, She was awarded one of the largest financial packages her college had ever offered. And by the time she was a graduating senior, she was actually paid $1,000 per month to attend college. Do y'all hear me? She was actually paid to attend college. In addition, she continued to be on salary as a student through her master's and doctoral programs. Her scholarship earnings have well surpassed the $300,000 mark, and she's helped other hundreds of other scholars enter the college of their dreams, earning more than $200 million in scholarships. So I don't know about you guys, but this sounds like a person who knows what it takes to get a debt-free education, or at least get some big scholarships. And so I'm going to hand it over to Rhea Watson, the scholarship doctor. Take it away.
I love that someone said, show me the money. So Miss Lynette, that is my goal and opportunity. I'm so excited. I think the 2 cents that I will add to the panelists who were absolutely amazing is I heard this maybe a few years ago, that you have your entire life to be the minority. So go ahead and just go to an HBCU because you have your whole life to be the first and the only, okay? So take advantage of it and have fun. And also, you never really heard anyone say, man, I wish I had gone to a PWI, but I hear all the time, I wish I had gone to an HBCU. So those were my 2 nuggets. And I think the same thing that Miss Stacy said, no matter who you are, anyone and everyone should and can go to a historically Black college. So I'm excited to share with you all my PowerPoint, and let's just talk about going to college debt-free. And let me do that one more time. Here we go. And I want to push play. And you guys, you can take any screenshots, any photos that you want. What you're going to see now are just different people in different parts of the world, different stages in life, who are experiencing earning degrees, doing so debt-free, winning lots and lots of money in scholarships, and even being paid to go to school. So we'll just let this loop through, and then we'll get to the talk for tonight. She's awesome. She's working on a master's degree now. I think we have one more photo. All right. So y'all, we're going to talk about how to go to college debt-free. It is absolutely 100% possible, and I am blessed to be able to help people all over the world to do this right now. So this is me. I am Ree, an internationally recognized expert on student financial aid and scholarships. I am an award-winning speaker, author, professor, trainer, and researcher. I'm right next door, y'all, in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a proud graduate of Morris Brown College, which is a historically Black college and university nestled in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, a part of something called the AUC, affectionately, or the Atlanta University Center, which includes Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, the International Theological Center, and again, my alma mater, Morris Brown College. I also attended for my doctoral program, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So I did the HBCU and the PWI experience. I personally won over $300,000 in scholarships, but my greatest joy and what I feel the most blessed about is that we have been able to assist scholars, and everyone's a scholar, Miss Michelle, I heard you say that, and everyone's a scholar, to earn over $200 million in scholarships. All right, so let's talk about the types of funding. We're going to break these down and then define them, okay? So there's scholarships, grants, work, study, and loans. So scholarships, guys, are free money for college, from a college or business that does not have to be paid back. It's free money for a college, from a college or business that does not have to be paid back. So what are some examples of colleges? We've heard all kinds of colleges tonight, from everything from Dillard's to UCLA, to UNLV, Morris Brown, Morehouse, Spelman, of course, Clark Atlanta, Howard, Harvard. We've heard all of these kind of bounced around even tonight, right? And those institutions will pay you handsomely depending on a myriad of different things. But if you did not know, businesses, both nonprofit and for-profit, will also give you scholarships. Now, one of my favorite that's coming up is the Elks Scholarship. I do have a photo of that and some information when we're going to talk about specific scholarships. But yes, the Elks Scholarship is a nonprofit organization that gives away millions of dollars in scholarships. And if you are a graduating high school senior, I want to make sure that you apply for that before the dateline. We call them datelines or due dates. But if you or anyone else other than a senior, I want you to mark your calendar because, again, they're one of the largest funders in the entire United States. Actually, outside of FAFSA, which we have a little information about that as well, they're the second largest funder in the country, okay? So that's an example of a nonprofit business. But there's also for-profit businesses that give away scholarships. Again, if you're a senior, did you apply for the Coca-Cola scholarship that was due October 31st? Did you know that there's also places like Taco Bell and Dr. Pepper that are for-profit businesses that will fund you handsomely based on, again, a number of different things? And what's so amazing about that, y'all, is it does not have to get paid back. So what are the types of scholarships? There's merit, music, athletic, academic, financial need, and miscellaneous components. Feel free to go ahead and take a screenshot or use your camera, your phone, and take a picture. No worries at all, okay? So now that I've listed them, let's define each one of them, okay? The merit-based scholarship, that's kind of a funny word that you could just replace with the word volunteerism. How altruistic are you? How community-minded are you? How much are you giving back to your community, your club, your organization? Miss Destiny, I think, did a fantastic job to say, don't just go to college, attend college, right? The same thing with ever high school, middle school, or elementary that you're involved in. You shouldn't just be there, y'all. You want to be involved. And if you're interested in merit-based scholarships, replacing that word with volunteerism, that will pay you handsomely. Maybe you're a music person. I wasn't. But if you are already playing what I call one of the sexy instruments, like the drums, or maybe you're playing the saxophone, maybe you're a bass guitarist, or even someone doing the piano, can you transfer skills? So there was a student right in wonderful Los Angeles who was a percussionist, and he was great at it, but he wanted to attend college and do so on scholarship. So he transferred being a drummer over to being a xylophone player. And I know, y'all, no one's ever said, oh my gosh, I want to date the xylophone player. But guess what? He's in school on scholarship. So if you are thinking about something like that, how can you transfer those amazing skills to something that may be a little bit less popular than the drummer, right? Athletic. There's athletic scholarships. And I want you to think the same way. For boys, kind of baseball, basketball, and football are super popular. For girls, kind of basketball, definitely volleyball, softball, and cheer. And it's nothing wrong with those. But what if you could transfer those skills? Or maybe if you're a little bit younger and you're thinking about a sport, have you ever considered archery, maybe diving or swimming? What about two of my scholars who rowed their way to a full ride scholarship? So if you're already athletically inclined, again, something that I wasn't, but if that's you, can you transfer a skill and do something that may be a little bit more unique? The next one is academic. That's how I had to go on my brain. I heard about some really smart people here on the call, including Miss Sonia, right? I think she talked to us about how she graduated from her school. Well, I graduated valedictorian in my high school. I graduated number 9 in my undergraduate program, and I graduated second in my doctoral program. And so I've always kind of had to rely on my brain because I didn't have too many other skills besides really studying very hard. But because of that, y'all, it equaled a lot of scholarships. And if you're saying, Ree, I'm kind of like you, I got to go on this thing right here, then I'm going to tell you, you want minimally a 3.8 unweighted GPA. Now, everyone should have 2 GPAs. So that's why I'm saying it's super important that your GPA is unweighted. That's the 3.8. Somebody may say, hey, I have need. I'm going to tell you what scholarships and Uncle Sam counts as need. That is if your household is $50,000 or less. If you make less than $50,000, then you could possibly be counted as having financial need. This is kind of the only part that's on mom and dad or others, okay? So you guys know how much you make, or maybe you want to have that conversation with your parents or guardian and say, do we fit in here for financial need? Miscellaneous components is everything else I didn't talk about, y'all. So it's things like, what college are you going to attend? What high school, middle school, or elementary school did you attend? Are you left-handed? We've heard about all those scholarships, right? But did you know there's 20 scholarships for those who are right-handed as well? Do you wear glasses or contacts? Do you wear your hair like mine? That means there's no chemicals. It's all natural. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. There's a scholarship for that. So it's based on your cultural background, your religious background, what state or city or county you're from. Or it could be something like what my friends did from Morris Brown College for my 40th birthday. They created the Friend Scholarship. And actually, it was the friend who wrote the essay and the person that they wrote about earned the scholarship. So it can be on anything and everything that someone decides. Now, y'all, sometimes these work together, but many times they work alone. It could be something like the Tall People Scholarship. Yes, that truly does exist. It's where there's a female student, 21 years or younger, 5'11" or taller, a male student, 21 years or younger, 6'2" or taller. And because you have amazing long legs, not like me, you can win a $1,000 scholarship. But guess what? They want to also know, are you involved? And they don't care anything about grades. 2.5 GPA is all you need. So there's all types of scholarships. So what I'm going to encourage you is to apply, apply, apply. If you guys have questions, feel free to let me know. And I should bring my chat up. Are we good? Okay. Let's go. So we talked about FAFSA, right? And the importance of FAFSA. I want everyone to apply. So if I have anyone here that's a high school senior or above, it opened October 1. The website is fafsa.gov. And I want you and yours to apply for FAFSA. Now, as long as you are someone who is a United States citizen or resident, you are able to apply for FAFSA. Do not think about how much you make. Everyone should apply. Without a completed FAFSA application, if you're applying for scholarships, you then have a deficit. So we want to make sure you have a complete application. So everyone go ahead. It opened October 1. If you're a senior or above, you can go ahead and apply for FAFSA. Let's talk about the grants. There's 2 kinds of grants. One is the Pell Grant and the other is the Teach Grant. The Pell Grant is dependent on mom and dad's and others' income, right? Again, it's at $50,000 or less. That's kind of a benchmark that you can think about. But the Teach Grant is totally different. Now, I didn't see anyone who said they wanted to be a teacher, but if you're that person, the government gives you $4,000. $4,000 every single year, including the master's degree. That's amazing to me that we want to grow our own and make sure that we have quality teachers who don't have debt. So if you know anyone who's majoring in education or interested in it, let them know they can earn another $4,000 outside of any scholarships and or the Pell Grant. Yeah, Lynn, the question is great. Work study. I love what Kirk, my a member of my alumni group and organization for Morris Brown said. He was like, don't work. I really truly believe that. I think people should work by doing scholarships. But work study is an absolute option that does not conflict with people's school or test schedules. So if you are looking to work or you feel like you need a job, it's a great opportunity for you to get some wonderful experience and not have the pressures if you're working off campus. So some places that I love for people to work are the library, the financial aid office, the admissions office, as well as for the athletic chair. If you didn't know, athletics is huge on college campuses. So if you want to be among like kind of the movers and the shakers, the athletic department, not the person who's like checking badges and wiping down the equipment, but again, working for or with the director, him or herself, it's a great way to go to college debt free. So let's talk about loans. That's why you're here, right? I just love CAP. I do this for CAP organizations across the nation. And so it's so cool that I love that you guys are doing these kinds of things because it's all to avoid this process. But I still like for people to be knowledgeable and understand what things mean, okay? So a college loan is so different from what we talked about. It's money borrowed from the government or a private entity, and it has to be paid back. And many times with this thing called interest, okay? So here are the types of loans. There's the subsidized, unsubsidized, parent, student, and private loan. So let's talk about the subsidized loan. The subsidized loan we use in our everyday vernacular. You may hear subsidized housing, right? We get a little bit of help from the government. So this loan is interest free. That means you don't pay any interest. What you borrow is all you get to pay back and nothing else as long as it's done before you graduate. So as long as what you borrowed is paid back before you graduate, that's all you have to return. Now, if you wait until after you graduate, guess what? All the interest becomes yours. Now, the unsubsidized loan, that little word "un," we know in the English language means not, right? That prefix, so it means it's not subsidized. So as soon as you sign, interest starts to accrue. We have our students, but we know mom and dad and others have jobs and collateral and all these great things. So they'll give you a loan. It works just like our mortgages and car payments. But again, especially with the pandemic, people have gone through all kinds of things. So they say, no problem, students, we'll give you the loan. Now, the last one to me is the most predatory lending there is. I never tell anyone, don't go to college, but this is a time when I say it's better to wait, save, work, whatever you have to do versus taking a private loan. If you didn't know, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, your credit union, any of your credit cards, they all have student loans. But I've had people come in my office when we were going in the office, and I still now have people call or meet me on Zoom, and they'll find out that they applied for a private loan with 9% interest. And about 3 months later, they get a letter saying that the interest has raised to 25%. I don't think it's a way that anyone can ever kind of get out of private student loan debt. So I just say, please don't do it. But again, wanted to make sure that you guys knew about it. Let's talk about securing the scholarship money. How do you go to college debt free? The first thing is you want an overall cumulative unweighted GPA to be 3.8 and higher. And even though I want that cumulative unweighted GPA to be 3.8 or higher, I still want you to take honors and AP classes or IB classes. Why? Because you're doing something differently than everyone else. It's not required to take those courses. So you immediately stand out on any application because you're doing something that's not required. And even though I love honors, AP, and IB, my favorite way for people to go to high school is to actually attend college. Most any school district pays, or it's really, really low, for you to earn a college degree and tons of college credit. I would talk to your counselors and ask them about dual credit, dual enrollment, and some school districts call it early college. All of that is available and helps to chop off any money that you may have to pay scholarship-wise or out of your own pocket because someone else is paying for that amazing, amazing degree. I want you to take the PSAT. Now, I know that test just passed, but hopefully if you have younger siblings or cousins or neighbors or parishioners, you'll let them know the importance of this exam. Now, I really push this. And even though your counselors or your school may not, they may say, oh, I've heard it all the time, actually. Oh, that's not so important. Oh, it doesn't matter. You can't use it to get into college. And that is true. However, there are 250 colleges that will give you a scholarship because of the score that you see for the PSAT. So please, pretty please with cheese, take that. Now, who should take the PSAT? Anyone who is 11th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade, 8th grade, and with Scholarship Solutions, we say start in 6th grade. The only time it, quote, counts is in the 11th grade, but we want you to have good practice and great skills so that when it does count, you can bust out that test and do amazing. I want you to take the ACT and SAT early and often, early and often, early and often. Read, when is early and often? Fall semester, right now of freshman year. Yes, again, I want you to start that process so that when you're at the summer of junior year, that exam is all done and you are amazing at it, okay? The score that you want on the SAT is a 1400 and on the ACT is a 30. Start applying for scholarships at birth. Yes, birth. Did you know that there were scholarships for 0-year-olds? So as long as you're outside of the womb, you can apply for scholarships. So since that's the case, why do we wait to senior year? There's no need to do that. And this is not a guilt trip. If you're a senior, if you are an undergraduate student, if you're a graduate student, a professional student, apply for scholarships today. However, if you're anyone else, you don't have to wait until senior year. And I see that Jonathan says, I took an honors class when I was in 10th grade and I'm an AP right now. 2 thumbs up. Great job.
May I ask a question? May I ask a quick question? What about, I notice right now a lot of schools are waiving the SAT requirement, saying it's not a requirement. Do you still advise the students take it anyway, or because I'm guessing it's because of COVID that they're temporarily suspending it? But like right now, I know that with Spelman College, the SAT is not required, and they say it does not count against you. What is your advice about that?
Yeah, and I was privileged to be able to be on a panel with them or to talk after they were discussing was Morehouse and Spelman. And I asked a very direct question. And so what I would say to you and everyone on the call, and I hope you guys share this with people, is most of the schools say that they're test optional, right? So it's not an idea of semantics. There's also this idea of test blind, but those are 2 different things. And so if you see that it says it's test optional, what does that mean? You have the option to submit one, just like you have the option not to. And for those who take the option to submit, on many college campuses, it puts them in the scholarship pool. And if people opted out, they also opted out of the scholarship portion. So even though they may not look at that for admissions, they are definitely looking at it for scholarships. And for anyone that wants to apply for scholarships outside of the institution, there's not too many places that have said we aren't accepting ACT, SAT. And I know it can seem a little bit unfair with COVID and tests being canceled. Believe me, I work with people across the world, so we've dealt with it as well. But I also have 10-year-olds who started the ACT and SAT test prep and taking the classes and the tests. So the colleges, the universities, the scholarships said you didn't have to wait till senior year or junior year. You could have absolutely taken that at age 10. And so for those who have chosen to do that, they have been awarded. I would encourage everyone to opt into an exam and not opt out, because your opportunities for scholarships are going to increase tenfold when you have an exam, even if they're, quote, not the best scores, because so many people are opting out of that process. Thank you, Tanisha, for saying that. So test blind means, oh, we're not considering this or looking at this or anything. And they even explained in the system of they're doing admission, they have a checkbox where they can say, this person chose to opt in and not opt out in regard to test scores. So I would encourage everyone to take ACT and SAT and to 100% be as prepared as possible. Great question. Are we good? Okay. So you guys established a good rapport. That word rapport means relationship, and you have some amazing mentors on this Zoom call. I would make sure that they know my name, and I love that Heather was right there saying who she wanted to be, and Miss Stacy had no qualms. She knew exactly what that was. She remembered Lauren and saying, "Oh, I remember you said you wanted to be a dermatologist." I loved all the science, by the way, scholars, and we call them again scholars. And I heard Miss Michelle say that as well. So scholars, I loved seeing that there were so many people that were committed to science. That is where that's where the money lies. And you'll see that momentarily. But set up those relationships so that when you ask for a letter of recommendation, they have no hesitation giving it to them, right? Absolutely 100%. And be community minded. If maybe you're saying, Ria, I don't know where to volunteer. And maybe you're thinking just like what Miss Stacy just said right now. It's like, hey, I don't know where to volunteer and it's COVID. Well, if you didn't know, the number 211 works anywhere in the entire country. Just like 611, 911, etc. You want to dial 211 and say, I'm 16, I love puppy dogs. Where can I volunteer? And they will let you know. And then you see volunteermatch.org. You can volunteer across the entire globe because you can do it right from the comforts of your home. So please use either of those resources and get involved because it's so important to the scholarship game. I love that. 90% of Black doctors went to Xavier. I've actually heard that statistic. Join extracurricular groups or clubs and be sure to take a leadership role. So you guys, if you're in the science club, don't quote, just be a member, be the president, vice president, sergeant of arms. We love seeing that. And when I say we, it's because I sit on tons of scholarship boards across the nation, again, national boards like the ELPS, where I can look and see, and I'm wanting to know who has gone beyond themselves. It's super important to the scholarship game, so just do it. I want you to think smart, take a STEM and feel the steam. SMART is science, math, and research technology. Science, math, and research technology. We all know what STEM is, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math. And STEAM is science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and math. If you can think smart, take a STEM, and feel the steam, you can go to college debt-free, 100%. And as you see what Ms. Sonia is saying, apply for scholarships, no matter how small the amount. I applied for a $2,000 scholarship and was awarded $20,000 because there were so few applicants. And I have the same testimony. How to go to college debt-free. We've been talking about it all night, y'all. Attend a historically Black college and university. They have tons of money. I hear these stories of people don't go to HBCUs because they don't have scholarships. I'm like, what are you talking about? I think they're some of the largest funding institutions in the country. If you did not know, if you are differently than me, that means you are not of African descent, you can pretty much write your ticket at any HBCU. But because there was a time when there were 300 historically Black colleges, and you see there's now just a few over 100, it is just, the doors are closing. So we need you, and there's scholarships available. If you didn't know, there's also Native American colleges, First Nation, they're called tribal colleges. There's about 30 of them now. There used to be double that. So if you are of Native descent, you can go there and pretty much write your own ticket. But if you are not First Nation, Indigenous people, American Indian, you can also do the same thing. I see that question and I have some scholarships. Attend a free college. Did you know there's about 25 tuition-free colleges in our nation? They are. Now you may have to go to Kentucky to do that, but they absolutely 100% exist. Attend a neighboring college. Come on over to Nevada. We would love to have you. If you're in California, there's a discount for coming to my state or Hawaii or Alaska. So go to a neighboring college if you want to get outside of your state. And I love that our service academies are huge scholarships, a $300,000 scholarship. And one of my favorite service academies is the Coast Guard. And the reason why is it's a BGPA, about a 1200 SAT, and they need and want women and people of color desperately. I have a student who finished, he was in Chicago, he's from Chicago, and he was able to play football and have an amazing career. And now he's working on a master's degree, and every single dime is paid for, no debt. I know. You've been living with your siblings forever, but it's only 4 more years. If Destiny did not teach us anything else, she's like, get done in 4, right? So go to college with your siblings. At Morris Brown, you bought one child and you got the other one half off. We had so many multiples because you paid for one multiple and you got the twin and or the triplet for free. So please, pretty please with cheese, go to college with your brother or sister. Attend a summer program or study abroad. When I've worked with scholars who have done this, their essays are just so different from everyone else. They talk about how they were able to give back or how they had to struggle through language. And it's just a different essay. And it makes your application stand out. And again, I know we're dealing with COVID, but programs like that are opening back up. Think about it. And if you're a senior saying it's not going to happen this year, study abroad while you're in college. It's a great experience. Check on state funding. Does California, Arizona, Nevada have something because you go to school there or because you're from there? Make sure to look at that, check it out, talk to counselors and see, because that is a wonderful pot of money that can help you and yours go to college debt-free. And as I think Miss Christelle just put in there, apply. It's a wonderful way to go to college debt-free. I'll tell you, I know a surefire way that you'll never get a scholarship, and that's if you don't apply. You need to expect to write lots of essays, y'all. That's how they know that you're serious and really committed to the process. And yeah, I want you to take our test prep courses. We want to help you to increase test scores. We just had that conversation, right? It's super important to be prepared, have a plan, a progression, well practiced, so you can go and rock that test. And yes, I want to work with you. So please consider us. We'd love to help you and yours go to college debt-free. And we help with these ways, right? We want to make sure that you are prepared and that you are totally understand how you can win at the scholarship game. And thank God, to the point of $200, we'd help to secure student success. Now, I don't know how to say your name, so I'm saying, is it Cyree? I'm going to answer your questions about where to find some scholarships and the websites. So here we go. These scholarships are for graduating high school seniors, okay? However, there should always be, again, a preparation, a plan, or progression. Feel free to take a snapshot or a screenshot, whatever you like, in order to be best prepared. I know we have at least one 11th grader, but guys, when you really think about it, you have 6 months till senior year, add or take. Okay, so the first one is the Elks Foundation. If you have not applied for this scholarship, please do so. It's $50,000, and they give one to a girl and a boy, but they also have $40,000, $30,000, $25,000, $20,000, about $1,000, $4,000 scholarships. And then on the local and regional level, they give out all kinds of money. So you could win anything from $100 up to $50,000. Tomorrow and Sunday, I'm doing a workshop to help with this scholarship. $75. I'd love to have you. If not, just apply, guys. It's the Elks Foundation. Don't miss out. If you are a junior, a sophomore, or a freshman student, you should go and look at this application so that you are best prepared for senior year. It's a one and done, y'all. So if you're a senior, you have to the 15th, and that's it. If you're 9th, 10th, or 11th grade, you have all these years to prepare and be an Elks scholar. The next one is Burger King. You can have it your way. Do you hear this? Think about this, y'all. Where do you eat, shop, spend your money? There's probably a scholarship for that. But Burger King is an amazing scholarship. Again, it's up to $50,000 and it's due in less than a month. Ronald Reagan, I think he was the previous governor of California, of course, president of the United States, an amazing actor, and he has a scholarship. Apply, apply, apply. Ron Brown is in a fantastic scholarship program that has been around since we unfortunately lost Ron Brown. But he has a scholarship specifically for African-American students. So if you're high achieving, really involved, this scholarship is for you. And then finally, we have the Jackie Robinson Scholarship. Yep, the baseball player. So he moved his date up a little bit. It used to be in February. And of course, it's not he, but it's his foundation. But this is a great scholarship. It's for persons of all nationalities. And if you think that you embody the principles of Jackie Robinson, this scholarship is for you. It's like Siri. Scholarship websites. Here we go. Take a screenshot. Bold.org, fastweb.com. It's been around forever, as well as scholarships.com. A lot of people don't know about that one. Bold.org is new to the game, but when I tell you, they are just winning at the scholarship process. Now, sometimes people get a little bit frustrated with Bold because they have a little bit of a simplistic application process. And so it makes it where a lot of people apply. But I just say it's a wonderful site. They have millions and millions of dollars. Don't give up and apply, apply, apply. Again, FastWeb is one of the first in the game, just tons and tons of information. And then I think a very well-kept secret in regard to scholarship websites is scholarships.com. So just apply. So I want to give you some testimonials. I know I have a few minutes left, but I just want to encourage you in some scholars that we've been blessed to work with. So this young man's name is Dale. He's a student at Vanderbilt University. And these are some of the scholarships that he won. And I think it's like really cool because it speaks to the Miss Sonia, who I believe said, do not despise small beginnings. But Dale won Wendy's, another restaurant, Economic Summit and Student Leadership Conference, which was a local scholarship. It was $1,000. But the thing that I loved with Dale is he never, ever ignored the local small scholarships. And with that, he ended up having something like a $9,000 bill to Vanderbilt. And so if you can think about that, not shutting out scholarships because they're not the big ones, you can really, really win big with scholarships. This young lady, Miss Laisha, she's right there in the red dress. She again applied for a local scholarship. She just happens to be for Las Vegas. Again, I work with scholars across the nation, but she just happens to be from Las Vegas. But Laisha was super involved. She never just was a member of anything. She always went outside of herself and she stepped up. She got accepted to every school except for one, which was Stanford. We got a 29 on the ACT. I think if she had just gotten one extra point, she just couldn't take it again. But if she had, I think she would have done Stanford because she was a leader. She was valedictorian of her high school, and she was absolutely involved in community service. Now, she did excellent. With this one scholarship, she won $40,000. And altogether, Laisha finished with about $400,000. I'm so proud of her. This is Nigel. Nigel is at UNLV and he won $100,000 cash. You see, he got that Burger King scholarship, Prudential Spirit Community Award. He was a Coca-Cola finalist, featured in People, Access, NBC News. And now at the ripe age of 18, he's an international speaker who gets paid all the time to speak to kids and adults. Why? Because at age 14, Nigel started his own nonprofit organization. And with that, he won his first scholarship when he was 14 years old. And he did that every single year until this year, where he just rocked it. It was our Super Bowl. And he ended up with $100,000 cash It's so amazing. He decided to stay local and go to UNLV. They wrote him back a check for $75,000. And Nigel just made really good decisions. Like he finished his associate's degree. So he graduated college before he graduated high school. He made sure to be super involved and still is to this day. And again, he had a passion project that paid him handsomely to go to college. Yeah, we're pretty proud of him. So you can look him up. His name is Nigel Murray. He was in People back in May. And on if you put his name in, you'll see him everywhere. This young lady is my largest to date scholarship winner. Her name is Dr. Abena Green. Dr. Green attended an HBCU, Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, actually right down the street from Vanderbilt. And Abena just made a lot of good decisions. And I love what Black Enterprise said about us. They said, oh my God, Scholarship Solutions is an answer to prayer. And that's what we pray that we always are. But she just made really good decisions. Like she went to a program where she was able to work on her medical degree and her undergraduate degree at the same time. She attended a historically Black college. She made amazing grades. And all of that preparation got her to where she is right now. Two things. She won $2.5 million in scholarships. And now she's a student at Howard University, another historically Black college, working on becoming an OBGYN. She is incredible. We love Abena. So guys, this is what we do. We have these services as you see here, everything from ACT to our family membership to individual premium services. We also have books, woohoo! And I have my book here too. So I'd love if you all would have my book, the book that's on the left. I think it's on your left as well. But The Scholarship Doctor is In will actually be launched, oh my gosh, on the 15th of this month. So excited. The other book just came out and you can get either of them from our website. And we speak. So do you have some place where we can come and talk to you and yours about going to college for free? We do this for sororities and fraternities, for community-based organizations, school districts and schools, libraries, unions, you name it. We will go to you and yours and make sure they know that debt freedom is absolutely a possibility. You guys, this is, yep, right there, Yanel. Is it Yanel or Yamel? I'm sorry. Right there is all of my contact information. You see my website, office phone number. I have a radio show that comes on every second and fourth Monday. I'll be on this week. And so you can, again, take a picture of that. I'd love if you would follow me on anywhere and everywhere. About 7,800 followers on TikTok, y'all. I'm wanting to get to 10,000. So come and join me and you'll get the great information there as well. I'm open to take any questions. I think we have just a few minutes left, but if there's anything that wasn't answered in the presentation or any questions you have, I would love, love, love to answer those. Thank you guys so much for your time. And please follow me everywhere. I'd love to have you. We always have great tips, tools, techniques, and tactics so you and yours can go to college debt-free. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it so much. Before this is, we'll still have the word. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Are we good? Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this was amazing. Wow. All right, guys. In case you missed any of this, in case you need to see it or hear it again, remember that this was recorded over YouTube, so you will be able to, if you follow the Wooten Center on YouTube, you can recapture all this information. Let's see, are there any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I think we're ready to move on to the Wheel of Names, Marissa.
Perfect. Okay. Yes,
right.
I am. So I have the Wheel of Names ready. We have 3 prizes. We have a Jamba Juice or a Starbucks gift card. So each of those have about $10 on them. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Is there anybody's name that I missed, or this is for the students? So if there's anybody's name that I missed, can you put that in the chat? Or if there's a name that's not supposed to be in here, can you let me know, please? So I'll give you guys a few seconds to speak in the chat. Switch Lynn Brooks to Lauren Brooks. Control C.
While Marissa is setting up the wheel of names, I just want to remind everyone that we have one more CAP session in 2021. Again, we meet every first Friday. So that means the next one is going to be on Friday, December 3rd. This will be a career panel. So we're going to bring in professionals who represent different careers and help you understand what it takes to be successful in those careers and the importance of a college education. Again, another CAP session that you don't want to miss. All right, and last chance, if there are any students, Sonny, who did not put their career choices or degree choices in the chat, please do so now. This is your last chance. And Miss Marissa, are you ready?
Miss Marissa, can you switch Yamel McFarland to Holland Wiley? Yamel is the mom.
I'm sorry?
So Yamel McFarland is the parent. Holland Wiley is the child.
Okay, 1 second.
Christelle, do you have anything? Miss Christelle, any closing comments?
Yes.
Before we end this?
Oh my goodness, Ms. Ria. And to our panel of HBCU graduates, thank you so much for sharing, Ms. Ria. Okay, you guys, do not sleep. Do not sleep on this information. Yes, go back and watch it on YouTube. I put the link in the chat. Go back and watch it and make sure you have picked up all those tips, all those sites. Like Miss Ria said, apply, apply, apply. I got scholarships coming out of high school. And like Miss Ria, because there weren't a lot of students that applied, they wanted to give me more. They will give you more. You will be debt-free, all of you. Our goal for all of you, regardless if you're with us at the Wound Center or if you're visiting, get the scholarships, you guys, so you can go to school for free. And not only will that scholarship pay for your schooling, it will pay for other things. Hello. Come on, y'all. Don't sleep on the money. Okay, let's get excited about it. Build up some energy about it. This is not just your parents telling you.
Yes.
This is your responsibility, because you know what? When that money comes into your account, it is not going to your parents. It is coming to you, unless you want to give it to me. You want to give it to me? So you guys get excited about this. Thank you so much, Miss Ria. Thank you so much, Miss Stacy and AKA. We appreciate you guys putting this together. And you guys, Miss Ria, we're gonna see you again. So, and Miss Marissa, I see you have it there, so go for it. But thank you all for being here.
And one more thing, and one more note, keep in mind, a lot of the Greek letter organizations, including Alpha Kappa Alpha, we give out scholarships every year as well. In fact, one year we had to extend the deadline for scholarships because we didn't have any applicants. So guys, there is money out there, free money. There's no excuses. All you have to do is go online and do a little searching. And I know you all know how to do that. So don't sleep, get that money.
That's right.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, I see remove. Okay.
Well, can we just leave your mail for now, and then whoever, if it lands on that, give it to the child? Karen, is that okay?
Okay, it's ready.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yes. When I win, I'll
So,
give it to her.
First winner. This is our first winner. So if you can put in the chat your guys' email, so we can go ahead and send you guys over the gift. Now we have the second one as well. Oh no.
If you want a Jamba Juice or gift card, a Jamba Juice or Starbucks.
Okay, I lost it for a second, but we're back. We're back. Okay, here we go for the second one. Woo. Now we have Heather as a winner.
Woo.
And now we just have one more. So our last winner. Jonathan. So you guys can put in the chat what you guys choose between Jamba Juice or Starbucks. And then if you can, go ahead and put your email address as well.
Woohoo.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. And I love you. We'll see you next month. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Do I have all the winners' emails?
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Rhea. I want to talk to you offline. I'm thinking about order some of your books because I think we'd like to leave some of those books with the Wooten Center.
Okay.
So I'll be contacting you about getting some of, well, I could just go on your website like you listed and get some of your books.
Either way, let me know.
Okay.
And I'll
Thank
personally
you.
sign. I'm personally signing all
Oh,
of them.
amazing.